Good morning, kids. Happy Wednesday. There were some big updates this morning, and I just want to go over it quickly before my appointments. Sorry about that. I just want to go over this quickly. How is everybody? Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. So if this case couldn't get weirder, weirder. I don't know. I don't know if that's grammatically correct. So as things left yesterday on the program, on our program, poor Nancy, there was no good morning, equal parts. It's great to see you, babe. Caden says, unsolved Davy Boston. As it left, as it was, there was no suspects, there was nothing. Then we get off, and all of a sudden, they have the person. Okay. So we were going over all of the footage from Nancy's Nest camera in the beginning, and then it come to find out there was they had someone in mind, and 50 miles away in something Rico, Arizona, my friend here, Aggie, could probably tell us. Sorry guys, they pulled this man over, and sorry guys, I can't, my cadence distracting. My bad. So they found this man in the Rico Tucson, Arizona area. He was with his wife and kids door dashing at the time. He was a dead ringer for the person in the camera footage, was he not? I thought so. Dead ringer. So they pull him over. He complied. We should. Brian Enton on scene found out that this man's mother-in-law, who he lived with, came out and interviewed with Brian Enton. It was like, this is not my son-in-law, which was bizarre. It's like, oh my God, lady, stop talking. Oh yes, hi, just me. Good to see you, baby. The Epstein files are heavy. So the mother-in-law is interviewing with Brian Enton, and she's like, this is not my son-in-law. All I kept thinking was like, stop talking. So then they detained him. They brought him in. I wake up this morning, he's already out, and he's doing the press tour too. I have so many questions about this case. It keeps getting weirder. Let's go ahead and play this.
At the University of New Haven. Bobby, a lot to get to over the past 24 hours or so, less than that, because you've joined us quite a few times talking about this case. Limited information until yesterday. Well, we got that surveillance footage. But first, talk about what tonight. The of interest was detained. They were released. From a law enforcement perspective, how does that work when police detain someone, but they don't move forward with an arrest?
Well, good morning. Great to be back with you again. We have a problem here that when we develop somebody as a person of interest, we're able to find them, we temporarily detain them for questioning. If we don't find enough evidence or don't get the information that's going to allow the situation to move forward, at some point that person needs to be released. We must have probable cause, to arrest somebody in a particular case. So obviously we got to a point yesterday in that 15-hour flurry since the release of the tapes yesterday. We got a little bit of legs last night with the detainment of that person and the interview thereof, the search of the house. Police just didn't find enough to keep that person in detainment or into incarceration for arrest down the road. So my guess is if the information that was generated from that person of interest is going to be fruitful, that they're probably going to surveil that person, make sure that they see where he goes and who he's going to see and what he's going to be up to. But we've got to continue to go out and dig for other pieces of evidence to move this forward. It was wonderful to get that flurry yesterday because we had a period of time when everything was a little bit dry, but now we're seem to be right back where we started.
This case is entering.
This is a great point by Equal Parts. It says that it was likely fingered by AI. His face was probably an ID by facial recognition, other factors that put it into the algorithm, and the feds were like, sign me up. Now, I did find it very odd that the family was so willing to speak, that he was so willing to speak. Like, by the time I went to bed last night, and by the time I woke up, he had been detained. I saw the mother-in-law on camera, and then I wake up to him on camera. It was bizarre.
Day 11. So it has been almost 2 weeks since Nancy was first reported missing. And we saw police down there kind of canvassing the area. They're still doing that today. Let's move on now to that surveillance footage, because this is a lot more than what we've gotten, at least throughout the last several days. I'm going to put it up here on the screen, Bobby. Take a look at that. We'll talk about the ways that police were able to retrieve this footage. But first, what is the strategy behind releasing these images right now at this stage of the investigation?
Well, we're at the point now with the victim here being an 84-year-old woman with medical history, with mobility issues, with a lot of notoriety that this case is out and about in the news every day. We've got to use whatever we can use at this point. And hope now is, you've heard Savannah Guthrie herself in her video releases, that we need the public's help. I think it's a little bit interesting that we're really not hearing a lot from law enforcement here. I also think it's interesting that we haven't seen the Guthrie family standing with law enforcement at a podium, pleading and talking about this case to the public and the alleged perpetrator. So
this morning, a friend of mine sent me an article about doing a comparison between Savannah Guthrie's plea to the public for help and the mother from Silence of the Lambs to let her daughter go. It was very eerie. I don't believe in coincidence. Just saying. I'm not saying she did anything, but performative, right?
The case now is at a standstill where we've got to get some interest in the public to say, hey, that's a person who I know, that check it. I know that that mask, that I know the features that we can see under the mask. So he's got to go and say something. Something knows something. They may just not know they know it.
You mentioned something very important that I want to touch on, is really the limited amount of information that we're getting from officials that are investigating this case. No press conferences as of yet, just these snippets of surveillance footage to try to generate a new lead within the public. Bobby, if you could explain to us really what is the risk of saying too much during an investigation like this, or also saying too little?
The enforcement folks need to spot with respect to getting information out to a public and a media that wants the information as soon as possible, but also they have to protect the integrity of the investigation. And if you let too much out, sometimes the information gets into the wrong hands and can be detrimental to the investigation. I was very impressed last night that when the various police station, many of the news outlets that I was watching to prepare for you this morning were indicating that they just weren't telling what direction initially that the law enforcement people were going. They kept that under wraps to help protect the integrity of the investigation. So we're at day 11 here. And as I said to you before, as far and far away and a staleness gets into this investigation, it's going to be very difficult to have a very positive outcome here.
So what stands out with some of these photos too, and the video that was released, is the fact that this
just me. It says, I don't know if I'm jumping at shadows. Honestly, I am wondering if a message isn't being sent to other reporters not to cover the files. Samantha was digging into it before COVID. I mean, yeah, 100% I believe that. They're all covering for each other because these are the biggest, this is the most money in the world. These people. And they're covering for everybody. Even if they're not directly involved, they're indirectly involved. And in my eyes, that's just as culpable. I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a doctor, I'm just a citizen in America, and I'm disgusted. Yeah, no, you're not crazy at all. No. Nothing to see here, just like this. I'm starting to believe that this is. Can you guys hear me over my son's tablet? Because it's really loud in my ear. I just want to make sure you guys can hear me. She was covering the Clintons and the victims that were coming forward. Like that. Talk about the remember the Guthrie lady, the one who unalived herself, when after all that she's been through, she ended up unaliving herself, allegedly, right? Everyone who ends up around these Epstein files and these big important people end up deceased. I don't believe in coincidence. Check out his gloves. They aren't just regular gloves to wear. Yeah, they look like black, like latex gloves, in my opinion. And funny, now they're going to testify. Yeah, Bill was on X, or one of his advisors was on X, being like, if I'm going to tell the truth, I'm going to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth. Get out of here, just like your blowjobs, Bill. Come on.
Person of interest. I mean, they're masked. There's not a lot you can do to really make out distinct features here because they're pretty much covered up. Even their hands are covered up. So I guess my next question would be, when investigators look at this, what kind of advanced tools, be it forensic or behavioral, are used at this time to try to narrow down who this person could be? How does that become critical, and how reliable would that be in court?
There are facial recognition tools and assets out there now that can be used by law enforcement that are incredibly effective, can be used and be effective even with somebody in a mask like this. They're going to look at the eyes, the nose here, the mouth, the space between the eyes, various movements that are going to be made by the situation or the offender, putting all those things together. My guess is that they are sifting through that information right now. They are running that through various databases to see what matches come up. Somehow they got a person of interest yesterday, obviously late in the day, and were able to find him and interview him. Ultimately didn't remain in detention, but somebody was able to put something together with the information that they had. And my guess is, I'm hoping, you've heard me say it to you before, I'm hoping that they have some nuggets of information in their back pocket that have not been released at this point, that they are running out today to use that video, use that information that they gleaned from that offender or that person of interest yesterday, and are continuing.
Wait, Aggie, are you saying that I haven't seen footage of a different suspect with white gloves? I've only seen this one. I saw there was someone saying that he had sneakers on. I don't see sneakers. That he may have taken them off or whatever. I see bare feet. Also, the man's bow-legged. Interesting. I haven't seen any pictures of a different person with white gloves. If you have that, if you could send it to me, unsolvedamyboston@gmail.com.
Continuing to move forward with those little pieces of information to get us the big puzzle fixed here.
Bobby, that brings me to the next point that I'd like to talk about. Obviously, a progress or what we can see from the public, it's going to be limited because there's a lot happening behind the scenes. So how does that work with investigators when they have those private conversations? What kind of assurance would the public have that things are progressing in a timely manner? Because again, it's not like we have all of the information because they have to protect the integrity of the case.
Yeah, the investigators here in this case, both state, local, and federal partners, are working very hard. You know, we're seeing a snippet film that's in and around the area. Rough. The weather can be very rough. There's a lot going on here, and it's very easy to forget all of the hard work that's going on behind the scenes, all of the hard work that's going on with respect to running of those pieces of information through a database, all the hard work that's going into breaking down these videos frame by frame by frame to try to pick something up, to try to pick up some evidence up that was left on the porch, try to find somebody who knows what that jacket looks like on one of their friends or family. So it's out there. We've just got to keep beating the bushes. As you've heard me say before, good old-fashioned police work is going to seal the deal on this. Although, again, as I said, the more that we don't have an answer here, the worse this potentially gets.
Okay, so like not for nothing, I don't see this having the outcome that everyone's hoping. Okay, she's been away. I originally, when they said that they found this guy and they was serving a search warrant in the Rico, Arizona, I was like, oh, maybe that's where she was held. Maybe she was taken care of, and this guy just needed money. I mean, he's running around doing DoorDash with his family in tow. I mean, that's sad. Desperation. But there's more to this, like Equals said, he could have just been picked out by AI face recognition.
And I'm putting up just this, some of that aerial footage that we have, drone footage, which I believe of the property terrain, because you talked a little about just, at this stage, the public very invested in this case. What can they do that can truly help investigators rather than complicate the case? Because once you release the type of footage that we saw from just yesterday, of course, thousands of tips hopefully are going to be coming in. But what can the public do to really help push this forward?
Well, I think the police department and with the media's assistance out there, is keeping the story alive, albeit not with press conferences now, but with those billboards and with this news still being vitally in the news every night. The word has to keep getting out. We can't let this story go to the back burner so that people will not be talking about it and then maybe saying, gee, I saw this, or gee, that jacket looks like this, or gee,
The jacket looks handmade, in my opinion. It looks handmade, in my opinion. It says, Aggie, it says, yes, there was another person with the man helping him. You can see her eyeliner, eyes, brows done perfect. I think, I mean, that very well could be. That very well could be. I thought it was the same person, just a manicured man. The pictures were all over the news yesterday. Yeah. The one that they picked up is, if you put a ski mask on him, he looks like the guy. Sorry, my kid's being a freshie. I was joking earlier when I saw that it could be Lauren. Yeah, no, I know. It could be. I mean, it could be. They looked like they had fake lashes on. Whoever that was had a very feminine face, right? It's a very feminine face. The poor guy. I mean, this is what sucks about bringing people in, detaining them when it's a worldwide known case. This guy, if he's not the person, you've tarnished him forever. You've tarnished him forever. This poor guy. Yeah, she has. Yeah, whoever this guy is, definitely had the snuffleupaguses.
I sold a backpack to a person similar to that in the store that I work. So we've got to keep talking about it. We've got to keep keeping the victim's family in our thoughts and prayers here. There's a lot going on, and all entities involved have to juggle all this information, have to juggle the evidence, have to make sure, again, that we have a potential criminal investigation here, and I think we do, but we've got to be able to make sure that we're dotting our I's and crossing our T's with evidence collection, interviews. This case still has to run like every other case, and a probable cause situation.
Well, that's the thing too. I mean, could this guy have been a plant in the beginning? I hate being so cynical when it comes to our government and law enforcement because of what we've seen. It sucks to feel that way. Hi, Mary Bagwell. Good to see you, Mama. It sucks to feel that way. Being naive is easier, right? when you can only see everything's black and white, everything's good, everything's bad. There's so much gray area that, they took in that Tyler Robinson for the assassination of Charlie Kirk. But the only thing putting him there, right? No gun residue on his hands, allegedly. His grandfather's gun from World War I hasn't been shot in years, and he picked him off from wherever, and the only thing they found was that, and they went and got him and arrested him. Right? We can't be equals. We can't be cynical enough. That's right. That's right. What's wrong?
Going forward, hopefully we do get some more information and possibly someone being at least apprehended to try to push this forward. I feel it'd be important to kind of give a refresher to our viewers when we talk about a suspect versus a person of interest versus someone who's detained. How important is that language, and what should viewers pay attention to when they hear these that different language being used?
Yeah, it's very important that law enforcement abide by the rules of the road with a criminal investigation. Probable cause is what we need to detain somebody, to question them. Beyond a reasonable doubt of evidence is what we need to convict somebody. So we have to continue to go through the status of what a criminal investigation is all about, how we gain evidence, how we interview people, how we document with photos and videos. All those things have to come together and be run meticulously so that we build a case. We don't want to build a case here that goes away with mistakes by law enforcement. Law enforcement's had a tough couple of years with all the things that are going on, and we need to continue to work hard to get that train back on the track so that we get the confidence of our public that we are going out, we are working hard, we are able to solve crimes, and remember the victim's family here, that we've got to get Nancy back to the victims here. So
it's so sad. It's so sad because I feel like in every case, all the victims get so lost, right? Have people forgotten that there's an 84-year-old woman missing? Hey, it's good to see you.
So that they can get some closure on this case, be it positive or a negative outcome.
Bobby, my final question for you this morning would be, if you had to summarize this moment in the investigation with one clear takeaway for our viewers, what would that be?
Well, I want to say that I hope we're close. The fact that an individual was at least identified as a person of interest yesterday, was located relatively quickly, I think, and was talked to. Obviously, we didn't get enough evidence or enough information to stay with that person. Maybe that person was not involved at all, but at least we had something to go on, something to show the public that we're out there. We are out there trying to find the answers to this question, working hard, piecing the case together for the victim's family. I think we just need to make.
Just me. I didn't know that I was a conspiracy theorist until the past 5 years. I am. You know what separates a legit case from a conspiracy theory? 6 months. Right? Some people are just willing to look deeper than the shit that they're fed. Right? I like those type of people. Yeah. Praise for Nancy. in the family, right? All the victims get so lost in the all of this. Everyone gets lost, and it's so sad because there's an 84-year-old woman out there, may or may not be alive, right? She has family, she has loved ones. These people are mourning her. She's missing. She hasn't had her insulin. And people making a mockery of it. Chris, were you the one that told me about the pizza delivery? Stop. Why are people sending pizza to this woman's house? Why are you trolling a woman, an 84-year-old woman that's supposedly kidnapped? Right? I think it was plan 2, hate. I think it was plan 2. So we're pretty much over this part. I am going to find this guy's interview that he did, and then I gotta go. Oh dear God, hold on. Let's see. Suspect. Interview. Oh, here he is. Hold on. Here we go. Hold on here. Oh, they were sending it to JLR. Okay. Okay.
Welcome back. We've got some new information coming in from southern Arizona, where deputies took a man into custody for question tonight, calling him a person of interest in their investigation into the abduction of Nancy Guthrie.
And just moments ago, we heard from a woman in Rio Rico, an hour south of Tucson, 20 minutes north of the border. She says her home is the one that's right now being searched by detectives. Take a listen.
They came out telling us that they had somebody gave a tip that the lady was in my house. I don't know her name. ¿Cómo se llama? Nancy Guthrie. That we don't know. We don't know her at all. I don't know who she is. I don't know anything about her. They only said that they gave a tip that she was in my house. And I told them, you can go in and search the house. There's nobody there. I have nothing to hide. There's nobody in my house. And I don't know what's going on. I mean,
do you have any family members that might know?
No, they're investigating my son-in-law. He's not have nothing to do with that either. I don't know
What's his name?
It's Carlos Palazuelo. That have nothing to do with it either. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah.
They're just invading my property. I told them they're going in and out of my house, taking a lot of pictures and everything. I mean, like I told them, we're not hiding anything. I give you permission. You can go and search. There's nothing in my house. You won't find anything because we don't have nothing to hide.
Is this your son-in-law's vehicle?
The one that was on the side of the, that's my daughter's vehicle.
So what is your son's name?
My daughter.
Your daughter.
Yeah, that's
So do you live in? It's her husband. So it's your son-in-law.
Yeah,
who
my
they
son.
took away.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Carlos. And
Carlos.
Last name?
Palazuelos. Yeah, he has nothing to do with that
Did he
either.
ever say anything about Nancy Guthrie?
Nothing. We never. Like I told the FBI, the investigator, if I knew anything about her, I said I saw her on Facebook, but I didn't read what was going on with her because I don't know her and I don't have the right to. I mean, if I don't know anybody, I won't read the story. I just go over, keep on going on the phone because I don't know her.
So how did this all happen?
I don't know. Somebody.
Were you home when this thing?
No, I was coming from Tucson when they had my son outside. the house. They broke in my house without a warrant or nothing. They broke my door. They went inside my house. My son was playing on Nintendo. He had his headphones on. They got him and put him in a cuff and took him outside. And then they asked him what's going on. They didn't say anything. Do you have a search warrant? They said they didn't have any search warrant by then. And they still ask him, do you still have a search warrant? And they don't give me an answer.
Does your son-in-law ever go to Tucson?
He works in Tucson.
What does he do?
He's a delivery guy. He does FedEx or something like that.
Okay.
That's what he works on.
And so you're not allowed to go home right now?
No, they wanted us in. They keep on going in and out of my house, taking pictures.
You're listening to that woman in Rio Rico whose home is actively being searched by detectives right now, confirming that her son-in-law has been detained and that her son was taken out of her home in handcuffs before detectives moved in to search the property, looking for Nancy Guthrie. No sign of her at this point, confirmed by deputies.
And she said she actually welcomed them into the home. She said they broke down the door initially, but said they didn't have a warrant. She, at least according to her, she welcomed them into the home, and that search is underway as we speak here. You heard her mention her son is a delivery driver, has a route that takes him up through Tucson. He is not a suspect. He is a person of interest who's been detained here. So we'll see how that plays out there tonight. But that is the scene. The FBI and the sheriff's office are still at this evening.
This is day 10 in the search for Nancy Guthrie, and it was this morning that the FBI released those shockingly clear images from a man in a mask with gloves on tampering with Nancy Guthrie's doorbell camera. I know we've got some footage of that, and it does show, I mean, you can make out a clear sight of his eyes. He's wearing a ski mask. He has a gun at his waist. And you can even see, Jared, a little bit of a mustache and a goatee through the mouth. So the hope was perhaps you'll recognize the clothing he's wearing. He's wearing a backpack and an unusual sweater. Maybe you recognize his gait, how he's walking. Right-handed, it's so many places. They're very clear images.
Yes, and in that entire interview with that woman you just heard from, they actually showed her an image from this doorbell camera that was released today. And she said that person does not look familiar to her. She didn't recognize the bag, the clothing, the eyes, nothing. So we don't know if the release of these photos from the doorbell camera led them to that home in Rio Rico tonight, or why they surrounded it and detained at least one person in that home.
And when Savannah Guthrie shared those images on her social media, she posted, "We believe my mom is alive and out there asking for help. There is a 50,000."
She was taken and we don't know where. And we need your help. If you see anything, you hear anything, if there's anything at all that seems strange to you, we are at an hour of desperation. And we need your help.
So that was late Monday afternoon. This is Wednesday morning, day 11 in the search for Nancy Guthrie.
Sorry, I just had to take a really important call. This is just came out 18 minutes ago. So let's listen to this. TMZ claims to know who Guthrie's kidnapper is. Can you believe it?
My next guest says he and his team has finally seen activity in a Bitcoin account tied to possibly a ransom note sent to news outlets in Arizona. TMZ founder Harvey Levin's with me now. And Harvey, good morning to you. Terrific work from the very beginning on this. Your outlet received an original letter. You did not receive a second letter where another affiliate did. So by my count, that's 2 letters. And you now report that TMZ has just been sent a third letter. Please explain and describe what you got about 90 minutes ago.
So an hour and a half ago, we got kind of a bizarre letter, an email from somebody who says they know who the kidnapper is and that they tried reaching Savannah's sister, Annie, and Savannah's brother to no avail.
Wait, if they have someone that Harvey is in the files, just me, Pig. But okay, so this is just like the Celeste Rivas Hernandez bullshit with TMZ. They're saying that they've been trying to reach out to Savannah and stuff. Why aren't they reaching out to the FBI and law enforcement? Call law enforcement. Stop calling the family. Stop it. Stop contacting TMZ. What are they going to do? Oh my God, my blood pressure.
And they said they want 1 Bitcoin sent to a Bitcoin address that we have confirmed is active. It's a real Bitcoin address. As they put it, times more of it. So I have no idea whether this is or not, but they are making a demand. It's interesting that, you know, Bitcoins fluctuate in value, but it's around $56,000 now, 1 Bitcoin, which is a
equals. I mean, that's fair, right? But they could walk into the Tucson, Arizona police station and make a report, and they could reach out to the feds, somebody, right? Steve Hawkins, stop it. I can't. Just me. They're all disgusting. Like, why are you contacting Z? I know they have like wide reach and stuff like that, but like shit. If you know who kidnapped her and has her, why aren't you going to them? I'm questioning this.
Is about the amount that the authorities are offering for information leading to the return of Nancy. So I don't know if that aligns, but whoever sent this, and they actually give a name and an email address, but whoever sent this is asking for around that amount via Bitcoin for information that they say leads directly to the person.
Let's take it a step at a time here, Harvey. Take me back to the original letter. I believe you were the one who said whoever wrote that letter, I don't think you used the word meticulous, but I'll use that word, suggesting that the grammar was right. The letter was very, very specific about the requests and the demands.
Equal parts, your daughter's case is so freaking sad, and I am so sorry. I mean, we know the law enforcement isn't helping, but I don't think that, like, why do they keep doing love notes to TMZ? You know what I mean? Why are they doing love notes? Why are they trying to reach out to the family? Right? Is it a wackadoodle on the internet? Or is it legit? They have to be vetted. Harvey is an opportunist. Yeah, I want proof of life, Aggie. I agree. Send in Bitcoin. Miss me.
Does this letter have the same form that you saw the first time around?
No, and I don't think this person is purporting to be that person. This person is purporting to be someone who probably wrote that first letter. If the FBI's operating theory is right, that they are going on the assumption that the person who wrote this note took Nancy. And so they're not saying they're the kidnappers. They're saying they know who the kidnapper is and will give that information up for 1 Bitcoin. And again, we looked at this address. It's a pretty bold thing that the address is real.
Okay. There were 2 other Arizona affiliates in Tucson, KGU and 9, another one. Did they also receive the same note? Or do you
I don't know. We haven't talked to them.
All right. Now,
we just, you know, Bill, we've sent this on to the FBI already.
Okay. Confirmed.
Like, how come Harvey can get a hold of the FBI, just me, but the person who knows who kidnapped poor Nancy can't? No one will listen to her, but they'll listen to Harvey Weinstein. Is that how the fuck his name is? Weinstein. I don't fucking know. Harvey Levin. God, I'm gonna be on a hit list somewhere. I don't know. When I called the FBI, they required I had the pedo's pics to prove my claim. The guy was a jerk. I can see why people don't bother. Yeah, it's because of the culture. Yeah, just me. Why does Harvey Weinstein have a direct connection over at the feds? Mr. Personality, Mr. Popular. Good grief.
Confirmed on that. I watched your interview last night with Sean. You were very careful as to what you said, and I respect that and the contact that you have with authorities. There was last night Bitcoin address that had $6 million deposited in it. I don't know if that's real or a ruse, but I'm sure you know of it. When you looked at that address, did it match what you saw in letter number 1 from several days ago?
I am not comfortable commenting on this.
Okay, so then it's possible that the Bitcoin address that was requested turned out to be this particular one. And that would
wouldn't read anything. I wouldn't read anything into this.
Okay, so the suggestion that money was paid may not necessarily be the case. Is that what you're saying?
Correct.
Okay. When you watch the camera video,
This is a lot to digest, kids. This is a lot to digest. It's hard to wrap your mind around. I heard it was $300 deposited last night. I heard that too. I heard it was 300 in like a good faith basis. And I think that they actually, if they did it last night with 300 to track the account of which it went into. So my man who got detained, how is he associated to that Bitcoin account? What was his identity stolen? Why does he look like the guy in the footage? How can two things add up but not add up? You know what I mean? Yeah, Harvey Weinstein is a perv in Hollywood. He certainly fucking is.
video that was sent out yesterday. Does it make sense for you as to why the FBI would give you this image and that image, but they give us the image of the side reporting? It's been suggested that whoever was standing in front of that door took the doorbell camera with them. It seems to me if they were familiar with the house, they would have known there's a camera. The approach this idea about taking these flowers and sticking over the camera lens, it seems a little foolhardy to me. And if you're right about the initial letter, that they were so careful in the way they constructed the letter itself, this wouldn't match the meticulous nature of that first individual. How do we make sense of that, Harvey?
You see it exactly the way I see it. I could not agree with you more the way you put it, that the just the thought that went into this letter doesn't match the thought of somebody coming up fully disguised, knowing that they don't want to be seen, and not even thinking, gee, people have these cameras on their door. You know, you don't have to even have cased her door or property to just make an assumption that she may well have a camera like that. And you should be ready to somehow block it. Have a piece of cardboard, have something to immediately block it.
So this is the only thing that would make me believe that this guy was like not a plan. This guy was not part of some special scheme, right? Intelligence trying to do. Okay, so he could have been a patsy, right? How I kind of feel about Tyler Robinson. But just because he's sloppy and stuff, it could have been on purpose. They picked the guy that wasn't going to do the good job so that there was a decoy. Or this guy was, in fact, looking just like for money or something. Because he's not that good, right? And other than this footage that remarkably came about 10 days in, there's nothing else that we know of. Nothing at the house they said this guy lived at with his mother-in-law. There was nothing.
Pocket. And this person walks up almost surprised that there is a camera there, and then walks over and stoops down in the garden area, grabs some shrubs, I agree with you. It just does not align.
Let me ask you a question about the activity on Annie's house last night. Saw him poking around in different areas, different neighbors' yards and the backyards there, and apparently some of them readily gave access to the FBI. Let me ask you an uncomfortable question. Do we know the status of the relationship between Annie and her husband?
And Annie and who?
Her husband.
Look, no. And look, I know why you're asking this, and let's just put it on the table. There have been all sorts of, reports, especially on social media. People are talking about who it could be. I have absolutely no basis to even raise that. And I'm not saying it's true or not true, but I've done checking the way everybody else has. And so far, I just don't have any information to give it credibility or shoot it down.
Okay. Let me ask another uncomfortable question since we're in this area.
That was a very PC way of sidestepping that question, right? He stuttered. Same, just me. I really hope it's not her family. I really hope it's not her family. The daughter's husband, where did that even come from, right? Because there's said to be a fight within the family. How many people in my chat, not all of us, have fought with their family? Never once, no one ended up kidnapped, bludgeoned, nothing, right? An argument doesn't equate murder.
They have not told us after the garage door closed where the son-in-law went. And the sheriff was very careful not to say who dropped her off, but it's been reported that it was the son-in-law. And is there any reporting after that they've been able to track where that vehicle went when they left her home, assuming they did?
I'm not privy to that information. I don't know. I'm only going to say what I know, and I just don't know.
Okay. Understood on that. One last thing. This $300 that was deposited last night that you were talking about with Sean, has that gone anywhere since that was reported last night by you?
I have never said an amount, and there is a reason I haven't said an amount, and I am going to stick to that regardless of what anybody else has said. There are reasons behind why I'm saying that, but I gave my word on something, and I don't want to impede this in any way. And I'm going to stick to what I said, which is simply that there was activity.
Harvey Levin not wanting to impede on an investigation. The owner, CEO of TMZ, isn't trying to get messy. Come on.
Activity, and I'm not going to say more about what the activity is.
I respect that. Last question then. Do you believe they're onto something here, or do you believe they're close to a dead end?
Yes, that they have avenues that they are pursuing. I know this, and I know this on one count, absolutely, and on a second count, look, he is dressed head to toe in various items, and I am sure that and I will say one other thing, Bill, that law enforcement has told me they are operating under the theory that this person lives in the Tucson television area, and that's why they've had so much contact with the local television stations there. So I am assuming at this point, and I don't think this is a leap of faith, that they are contacting anybody who, while you're showing the glove there, anybody who might have sold a glove like that, who may have sold a backpack like that, may have sold a sweatshirt like that, pants like that, anything, that they are contacting them, because we have seen time after time that one of the ways they catch people is that they will find somebody who bought something 2 weeks ago, and they look at the surveillance video of who's in the store. Even if they pay cash, they have a time on what to look for and who goes to the cash register with the item and walks out. And that happens all the time in law enforcement. So I think what he's wearing, aside from the fact that somebody may be familiar with it, they are going to try to find out who bought it. And if they bought it within a fairly narrow time frame before this, because these are not things that I would think people just ordinarily have. I mean, the gloves are bizarre. So
he's clearly not from Massachusetts. Like, this guy looks like every utility worker working on a pole during a snowstorm. Minus, I agree with the gloves, the latex gloves, in my opinion. They don't look really leather. They look like skin tight latex gloves. But I mean, out here, this is a normal. In Arizona, maybe not, right? Good grief.
So I would think they are contacting all sorts of establishments. They would probably contact manufacturers, but certainly retailers, and then to see if you can nail down who bought something like that, and then look at surveillance video, and that tells a whole story, because whoever bought that did not walk in looking like that.
Harvey, how much more time do you have? I'm told that you have a deadline here. Can you still talk with us?
Yeah.
Okay. I want to bring in my colleague Dana, and let's go ahead and open this discussion up. And I really want to drill down on what you told Sean last night. You said when that first letter arrived, you read it. This is a really intelligent person who knows how to express the thought. They have thought this out. They cover everything they need to cover. That's a very intriguing answer. Can you take that a step further?
Well, yeah. I mean, and we've been saying this for days now, that I would assume, I mean, if I were putting an APB out, and I'm not law enforcement, but if I were putting an APB out, I would ask people in the Tucson area, do you know anybody who is intelligent, who is tech savvy? And now you can say someone with a somewhat stocky build, with mustache and a beard and or goatee, and somebody who has just gone MIA over the last week, because I'm assuming this person is not walking around in public. And to me, that's a clue, because I think all of those things align. And, reading that first note, I think it is an intelligent person. I think it is a tech savvy person, because we were on the phone with the FBI a couple hours after we got the letter, and everybody was trying, including my IT team, trying to figure out something about who sent it, and we hit a dead end. So it's somebody tech savvy. And, that's at least an avenue to go. But, there may be something with a Bitcoin. There may be something with, that kind of description, in terms of a lead. There may be something in terms of tracking down who was wearing something like that in the past, or whether it was purchased. So there are avenues they are clearly going down to try and figure out who this is.
Okay, Harvey. More to come. Appreciate you sharing what.
Oh, kids. Oh my goodness. Okay, I have to go for now. I have an appointment. I have to get Caden some lunch and then make some appointments. I will be back later if anything comes further out of it. I don't believe any of the story we're getting. The fact that Harvey is their spokesperson is questionable. Okay. I'm not liking it. I'm not liking the story. I think it's all a bunch of bull. Okay. It's all a bunch of bull. Prayers for Nancy. I hope she's found one way or another. Okay. I will be back later if anything rolls out with this, if I can. And I will see you on the next one. Bye, guys. Thanks for joining.